Hey guys, my name is Theo Le Roux and I'm from Cupocafe Coffee Bar. And on this video, I'm going to show you how to make coffee art or latte art at home. So, of course, for you to make the coffee, you need coffee first. Now, there's a few places where you can get your coffee. You can either buy a packet of coffee from a local coffee shop, which this one is from Farmstead Cafe. And of course, you need full cream milk. Very important. Now, if you buy, make sure to buy grounded beans. So grounded beans are very, very important. Unless you don't have a coffee shop around, then of course you can use instant coffee as well. So I'm going to do both cups for you just so that you can see that it is possible to do this at home in either grinded coffee or instant coffee. Now, if your local coffee shop only sells beans, then you can crush your beans yourself. You can get one of these little guys from your local grocery store. You just pop some beans inside and you crush them. Of course, I'm not going to go crazy right now, but you can see that it grinds down. So you just make it as fine as you can with this and you create that coffee. Now, of course, we want to jump off first by saying, okay, we are going to make the two coffees. Now, to make coffee, you need to boil water. So either boil water on the stove or use a traditional kettle. If you don't have access to a kettle, you can take a jug, pour some hot water inside, put on a flame, heat up that water so that of course you can make your coffee. Now, while that guy is busy heating up, the other cup is going to be instant coffee. So with instant coffee, we always, stick your spoon in there and you take about a spoonful. Now, very important, it does say on the back, makes approximately 50 cups. So this 100 grams can make 50 cups. That actually shows you how much coffee you need to use in your recipe to make a good cup. Now, on 50 cups on 100 grams, that means it's round about 2 grams per cup. Very, very important. So it's not a spoonful, that's too much coffee. Now, I'm going to be making this in a 190 ml cup. So 190 milliliters of water is going to go into this cup, which means on the estimate of their calculation, and just to show you that it's on all bottles, on this one it says 1.8 grams per 80 degrees Celsius water on a cup. Now that is per 100 mils of water. They actually know that it's 100 mils. They don't always tell you, but the recipe is always on the bottle. You must just have a look for it. So on this one, we're going to use about 4 grams on 200 mils of water, which means it's a flat spoon of coffee. That's the right recipe for this specific cup to bring the flavors out. So we're going to pop that in there. Then, of course, on the other cup, we're going to use instant coffee. Grinded coffee. So this one has been pre-grind. I grinded this down to about a medium just to create it. Now I'm going to be using this very big French press, specifically because I want you guys to see me froth the milk. But so we're still going to do the coffee in this as well. So we'll put the instant coffee just back there. Again, coffee, around about 8 grams per 100 mils of water for grinded coffee. Now, with most coffee or bean to cup machines or so on and so forth, you normally get a little guy like this. That holds 8 to 10 grams. And so we're just gonna scoop it, level it out, and pop it in there. Now, of course, we'll have to go for 100 mils of water. So I'll be measuring it out inside the cup just before I pop it in there. Now, this water is pretty much on a boil. You never really want to completely boil your water, because if you completely boil your water, it's in this elevation that we are at in Pretoria, it is 98 degrees Celsius. If you live down by the coast, it's 100 degrees Celsius. So I always, once I see the bubbles for the boil, I take it off, I let it stand for a little bit, and then of course I pop it to the coffee. Now, if you use boiling water, you're going to burn your coffee. That's going to make the coffee bitter. So on this, I'm just going to pour about a half a cup out here. Now, the reason why I don't want to go completely full is if I go full cup, that would be an Americano. But because we're going to be doing latte art with it, of course, we need to then take it down a notch. So we only want an espresso amount. So even this might be a bit much. So I'm just going to pop some of that back there. There we go. That should be a fair amount. So I'm going to pop that in there. Now, as you can see, that is a very low amount of water right there with that coffee, because I want the coffee to be very, very strong. We want to create an espresso so that we can then add the frothed milk to create the latte art, and we want the combination to be correct. Now, you guys can all see that I'm not using a scale today, and you all know how much I love my scale or using my scale. So if you're at home, do get yourself a scale. It's very, very important to measure the stuff out. Now I'm just going to let that stand there for a bit so that we can get that fusion nice and well. And then on this side, of course, we've got the instant coffee. So we're going to add a very little amount of water. You can see it's a very, very little amount of water right there. Again, so that we can create an espresso, because we want to add the frothed milk to create a cappuccino with some latte art on top. Now we want that to dissolve very well. And now we pour out that beautiful espresso. So as you can see, very little amount for that gorgeous, gorgeous espresso. So now we have an instant espresso and we have a grinded coffee espresso. So the next thing we need to do is froth our milk. So we are going to pour enough in here for 2 cups. That should be a fair amount. I can even see a piece of coffee still floating in there, piece of grounded coffee, but that's all right. We then take this and pop it into the microwave for around about 2 minutes. Then we let that run to heat it up, and then we're going to froth the milk. So let's fast forward again. Do keep an eye on the milk so it doesn't boil. You don't want your milk to boil. As soon as your milk boils, you actually tear the protein molecules from each other, and you don't want that. So it's lukewarm, so it's around about 40 to 50 degrees Celsius there. I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer. Okay, that was about 1 minute and 15 seconds. So my microwave is fairly hot. So that's about the temperature I wanted, which is about 65 degrees Celsius, because, or the way that you know that it's about 65 is when you touch the milk, you can't hold it for longer than 2 seconds. You pop your French press in there, and then you start frothing it. Now do try and get as much oxygen inside there to make it nice and thick. Now, as you can see, that's pretty thick right there. What I then do is I slowly pull, ouch, it's burning my hands. I slowly pull the lever up to try and get all the oxygen bubbles, or as much as possible of the oxygen bubbles out. As you can see it there. Here's the piece of coffee grind. So now you have your frothed hot milk. Then you get a small jug, milk jug. You can buy these from most stores or any coffee shops. You're gonna pour your frothed milk inside there. Not all of it though, only some of it. Then you wanna wiggle this around in a circular motion and bump it on your table. Now if you've ever seen a barista always bump his milk jug, it's so that we can get most of the bubbles out of the milk, because the bubbles, these bubbles, actually create an ugly pattern. So these ugly bubble pops inside your coffee that you don't want on top of your cappuccino. So getting it as smooth as possible. And then we go for the instant coffee one first. I'm going to try and do this as best as possible to show you guys on the other camera how I pour it. So hopefully you guys can see. Pour it nice and high. Push it forward. And that is a beautiful way of creating art at home. Now, if you want to become an expert in art, you have to train a lot. My baristas probably pour around about 200 cups of coffee or cappuccinos every single day, and therefore they can create these gorgeous patterns like swans, and my son created this little duckling, and you know, the tulips and the stackers and so on and so forth. But there you guys have it, an instant coffee art. Of course we want to pour the other one as well. Let's see if I can get a better picture out of that one, because that first one was horrible. Now, when you pour it, you'll see that there's a pouring sensation and a pushing sensation. It takes a while to train these things. I'm going to pour this one in one go. So you pour to get a nice brown color. And there I've got a little heart slash broken bean slash whatever you want to call it. And there you go. That is the coffee grind one. Oh, so much sweeter than the instant coffee. Well guys, there you have it. Doing latte art at home. Beautiful, elegant way to create some beautiful pictures on top of your cappuccinos without leaving your house. If you guys enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up, because YouTube also appreciates that stuff, and of course we love to see your reaction. And we adore your time. We love you guys. If you have watched the rest of our videos and you enjoyed it, please hit the little subscribe button and the little bell notification so you can see whenever else we upload videos. And we'll see you guys on the next video.